there, welcome back. Today I'm talking about two films. I see we're talking about lots of multiple films in these first week of videos. I maybe try to catch up, but there's also the fact I've been watching certain films that are linked to other ones, so it's almost like it's impossible not to talk about them together. It wasn't planned that way, it was just like you see two films within a week of each other and it's like, that's really linked to this one. So I mean, it's not like King Hu ones where I saw two films by him close together, but these other films I've seen quite a lot of them close together without realising it. So, or at a certain point you realise you're running out of, and you watch a set of a film, so you might as well just go off and watch the rest. So this one, the Day the Earth Caught Fire and Quiet Earth. These are two sci-fi movies, two low-budget sci-fi movies that have ecological themes. They both came and went in the cinema. They did well. They've got cult followings. They're respectable idea films rather than like shoot 'em up films. They don't have the budget for lots of special effects, so they make do with atmosphere and ideas and character moments. And they're both films I saw when I was a lot younger, but I didn't realise I'd seen Quiet Earth. When I saw it again recently, I thought I was watching it the first time until I realised very early on, I've seen this film. So sometimes you realise you have seen it but you forgot the title, and it's like, oh, that's that film. I have seen it. Before it was just a film whose plot you remembered but you didn't know what the title was. And so I must have seen that during the 80s, during rented stuff in the video shop. And the Day the Earth Caught Fire I saw on TV years ago. But I saw both these now in Blu-ray, being restored. I mean, the Day the Earth Caught Fire is on widescreen and it looks beautiful in the restoration. Quiet Earth is 185 and it looks really nice in restoration. It didn't look as good as Day the Earth Caught Fire though, because I think it's just the way it was shot. I think they had less money. Maybe I don't know. It just wasn't framed as dynamically as Day the Earth Caught Fire. Plus Day the Earth Caught Fire is in black and white and then in sepia. And I think it just makes, I get a feeling as the people behind it had more experience when they're making it. They bank on. And I think this was the first film. So Val Guest, who directed Day the Earth Caught Fire, also did the first two Quatermass films. And there was a link between those films and this. There's an atmospheric link. It's very realistic, based in the real world of like police, news reporters, Fleet Street, all that. Everything's done with some sort of realism for the characters, which means that the kind of fantastical plot feels grounded in reality. In this one, basically, there's two nuclear weapons that go off at the same time, but no one's realised because one went off in Russia and one went off in Pacific. It wasn't planned or anything, it was just like a fluke, and they realised both these things went off at the same time. And then at a certain point, people started to realise it's getting warmer, and there's like fog banks coming in to London of like hot air and just fog. It's like something's wrong here. There's something's going wrong. But everyone's denying it. I'm just saying it's weather abnormalities. Blah 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 blah. The weather's going weird. How's that? And they're just trying to work out what went on. And people know that something's up, but the government's not going to admit it for a long time. But things are building and building, and this newspaper reporter played by Edward Judd, who's a bit of a has-been. He was a good reporter then, he was a good writer, and his wife left him, and he's struggling with basically he's lost his contact with his son apart from certain moments. And he's taking it bad, he's taking to drink, and he's on the verge of being fired. No one's getting any respect for him anymore. He's just falling to bits. But he's the one that has to go to follow this story up for his pal, who's the science editor, played by Liam Kern. And at that point, when he goes there, he manages to sneak some information out just by being a sneaky reporter, which starts to put things together that something else is going on here. But it's not like a report. It's not a kind of thing where a reporter gets the big scoop and is a hero. No, it's like all he gets is there's something off that makes him suspicious, and life goes on and he starts to romance a woman who works in the government. But that's allowed to go on as well as the plot. And it's more of an atmospheric, character-based story, but these people experiencing something's off. And every so often a conspiracy plot comes in. But it's less of a conspiracy, more like governments just try to keep back how bad the situation is as they work it out. And they realise that Earth's off rotation. And not only is it going off rotation, which means that they, like, basically wherever you were in the rotation, like, basically the Antarctica and the cold areas are now moved somewhere, the warm areas have moved, so London's now more of a warm area than it was before. Not just that, the Earth's also off rotation towards its orbit around the Sun. It's getting closer to the Sun, which means they can't survive or be too close to the Sun. I mean, it's a fantastical sci-fi idea, but it works for a 90-minute movie. Like, it's a what-if thing. What happens if you did something to the orbit of the planet? And it just takes that seriously. It just does that. That's the story. And it's how does it affect these characters? Especially this cynical guy who has nothing to live for apart from his son. How he slowly starts to come back to life. Slowly starts to engage with the world again. Again, also how he deals with romance and how he makes mistakes there as well. Against the backdrop of the world slowly falling to bits. It's wonderfully atmospheric because the characters are cynical and they're newspapermen. They're self-hating, they make mistakes. Edward Judd's a really interesting lead. I mean, he didn't do much beyond this in First Men in the Moon as a lead, which I've also reviewed. My Edward Judd collection of leading roles I've covered. But the character's really interesting because he's intelligent but he's self-destructive. I mean, he knows he's self-destructive and it's following the pattern of him coming back to humanity, but not in a way that's sappy. It's a way that feels realistic for this character. It's like, it's baby steps. He can't just jump right over, he has to slowly do it. And he's dealing with people like the girl he falls for, who's much more of a grown-up than he is and expects stuff from him to be realistic rather than anything too sappy. She's a grown-up, she knows the way the world is. His pal Liam O'Kern is also a grown-up who expects stuff from him just to be a grown-up. So these are really interesting characters and they're really wonderful, and it's really interesting to watch them in this situation as the world may or may not end. It doesn't tell you, they have a plan to solve the problem, it doesn't tell you whether it succeeds or fails, which is nice. They try and hint it succeeds, but they don't tell you. And the director wanted that gone, he wanted there to be no hints either way. But the studio made it, gave a hint that it may have succeeded. But it's still a wonderful film. That compromise lasts 2 seconds, doesn't really matter. The rest of the film was wonderful. The Quiet Earth is a wonderful film as well. It's less polished though. The characters are less developed in this one. It takes place, it's Jeff Murphy directed it as his first film. He's done a lot of second unit stuff. He did the second unit in Lord of the Rings. He directed some American films like Young Guns 2, Under Siege 2, Free Jack. I mean, I did all these like American films that weren't that good. But this one he had a good script, so we stuck to the script and he had good atmosphere, and it was like what happens when you get a decent director and you give him good material rather than ask them to elevate garbage material. And he's a good cast. It's like the world, everyone in the world has disappeared apart from this one guy, and you slowly see him go mad by isolation, and he thinks he may have been responsible for everyone disappearing in the world, but he doesn't know if it's true or not. But he really loses his place in the world. He just loses it because isolation destroys him. And then as it goes on, he discovers another person as a woman, and then they discover another person, this Aborigine, because it takes place in Australia, and they start to put together what went wrong, or what could have gone wrong. And they also have to deal with this idea of there's only 3 people left in the world, who's going to hook up with who, there's human jealousy involved, all of that stuff. But there's also this atmosphere of, who were you before really? I mean, why did you survive? What were you really about beyond what you're telling me you were about? And everyone's got their own little secrets, everyone has their problems, and it's slowly uncovered, but it's all paced really nicely. It's like 90 minutes long. It's paced really nicely. The acting's good. The characters are well enough defined. They're not as defined as the character. They're not as complicated as the characters in Day of Fire. They're more vague, but they're more realistic. They're less like theatrical conventions for a story. They're more the way people are, which are a bit more like, they know who they are, but they're not like brilliantly defined in every area. They've got their weak points, their strong points, and they're kind of wandering through life. So you get this really interesting essence of these characters who may fight each other, may kill each other, they may just get on, and they try to work out, do they trust the other person or do they not, and they try to work out each other's sense of humour and sense of self, and it's a really complicated human dynamics within this sci-fi world. And it's a wonderful film. It's really is beautiful. It's atmospheric as hell, but it's realistic. It's all these areas of desolation where there's no one there. There's all these areas of nothingness. And it's how you fill that with you, and if you're not feeling great yourself, and how do you survive, and it's just this wonderful atmospheric world, and it keeps the mysteries of what happened carefully, only unravels them carefully, but it still keeps it in a sense of, I'm not going to tell you everything, you have to infer a lot. And that's what's great, because you try and work out what the end means, go ahead, try and work it out. In plot level it doesn't tell you what it means, but emotionally it feels satisfying. It just doesn't tell you exactly what it means. It tells you that there's something interesting going on, but it's building from the atmosphere of what's going on rather than the plot. So it feels like legitimately the right ending. But if you ask me to explain how it's legitimately the right ending, I couldn't do it. But it feels that way in the film. It's legitimately the right ending. And the whole film is this kind of mood piece. Is like, if you're a David Lynch fan, you're probably going to like this one. It's not David Lynch in any way, but there's elements. It's like it's that same view of atmosphere over plot. It's like it's people wandering through a situation, and we're not telling you what you feel or think. You just have to feel it and work it out yourself. It's got that element of it, and it's a wonderful film. It's really worth seeing, and it's a B movie and knows it, so it's going to treat itself like an A movie. It's a B-movie plot, but it knows what it is. It's going to treat it with respect. It's going to treat the audience with respect. It's the same with Day of Fire, the same way. We're going to treat you with respect. Yes, this plot's outlandish. This sci-fi plot's outlandish. But if we go with where this plot could lead, we're going to treat all that realistically, and we're going to treat you as if you're a thinking human being. And it's a what-if situation. And this one, what if the Earth goes off rotation? Well, what if everyone disappears apart from 3 people in the world? And let's go with that and see where it goes. That's what these films have. Really terrific what-ifs on a low budget that rely on acting rather than special effects, rely on atmosphere rather than explosions. They're not too long. They get on with what they're trying to do, and you're going to have a good time if you like sci-fi movies that are atmospheric. I don't want to say more about either of these films because I don't want to ruin the surprises with them. I just try to say they're, I mean, Day of Fire I probably ruined a lot of, but it's made in 1960, I think everyone's probably seen it, really. And The Quiet Earth's maybe less seen, but I'm trying not to say much about what the ending actually is. Just go with it, don't try and overthink anything, just go with the atmosphere of both these films and you're going to have a good time. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're back next week with more videos, but this is the last video for this week. Any comments, please comment. I'll answer the comments. I keep on forgetting to say that, but I'm trying to get in the habit of saying that. And I'll speak to you soon. Right, bye.